Okay, so I'm hanging out in the closet today, and today's call is I'll go ahead and share my screen actually, so we can just jump right into it. Um, I I've done this one before in the past if someone happens to be watching this. Um, but I'm sure I'll say something different than I did last time. That's usually what happens. Let me put us up there. So this was from a book, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't even remember what book this was from now, but it was some PD book that I read. Man, what was it? It doesn't matter. But all of this, so this is all kind of like from the author. This was like a whole chapter, a couple chapters that she did. Oh, the lies. That's just what I titled it. But so tonight we're really going to be talking about the lies that we tell ourselves, that we allow ourselves to believe, that are end up just really being excuses. And we'll kind of be hitting on those. Like some of them can be, maybe they are your limiting beliefs or things that are holding you back. And then if there's some time at the end, like, or any time in the chat, and then at the end I can check it, I would love to know what your limiting beliefs are. And if you're not really sure, I know when I first started coaching, I didn't even really know what that phrase meant, but it's just those things, or that one thing that just constantly holds you back from really moving forward. So, I mean, there could be so many different examples, and we're going to touch on a lot of them here. So I'm going to get started with that. But I'll be straight up honest right away. And I said it last week, that I am always working on believing in myself and believing that sometimes not even that I have what it takes, but that it's okay for me to go that far, and that I can deserve that. I can have that just like anyone else. So for me, like, I'll just throw that out there for you. That's mine. I have absolutely no problem staying consistent, no problems working, like the self-discipline. A lot of times that's the one that holds a lot of people back, or like believing. Some people have like the fear of failure, or I have like none of that. I just struggle with like comparing myself and stuff like that. But anyways, okay, so the very first lie, I'm going to be moving our picture around. I don't know if that moves it for you guys, but the lie is that you say, I don't have time for this. And this could also help you, side note here, this would also help you when we're talking to prospects and our other coaches and customers, because maybe they're referring to it on, this can work for anything, for your workout or whatever. But I really would want to specifically focus on it for a business tonight. But remember these things that maybe you can help and teach other people too. But saying I don't have time for this, what you're really saying is that I haven't made this a priority. And until this business is a priority, you will have time management problems, and it will be easy to avoid working your business. So I wrote down here, we find time for everything that is important to us. Now, some of you, like, we're all the busiest person we know, right? And we all have like all these kind of things going on. So our day isn't going to look exactly like each other. And maybe some of us don't have as many hours in the day as others. But the moment that you make the decision and make it a priority in your mind that you are going to do this, then you will find time. You will find ways to fit it in. And I mean, like, I'm a stay-at-home mom, and I still figured this out, like, even for my own day. And I feel like I know I have more flexibility and time in my day than someone who's working a full-time job and has kids and all of that. But even that, when I first started coaching, I said the same thing. I was like, I don't have time. I'm busy all day long, and then I realized, like, oh, it just means I have to sacrifice something else. So it meant that I couldn't read my book while the kids were watching their movie, right? And then, like, the pandemic hit last year, and I was homeschooling my kids, and I took on another lady's kid, and I was like, I don't have time. But by then, like, this was so important to me that it was never an option to say that this is going to go on the back burner for a year while I homeschool everybody. It was like, no, I will make this a priority because it's important to me. And I made it work. So I'm going to skip some of this just so I can get through all this, because I had some like interactive drop in the chat, but I don't think I would be able to read the chat anyways. But think of some things that are important to you other than your business. And, you know, whatever those things are, like you make time for it, right? You make it happen. Like I could list examples, but it really doesn't matter. What is important to you, you will make time for. So the next time that you find yourself saying, I don't have time, instead try saying, it's not a priority, and then see how that feels. And so if it doesn't feel good because you know that's not the truth, then stop lying to yourself, make it a priority, and make it be that thing that is so important to you that like you don't want to miss it. So, and it's hard, but like the hardest stuff is the important stuff, right? And that's the stuff that we want to make happen. So the next lie is I'm talking to enough people. And this one probably doesn't really go into like limiting beliefs, but this was something like it was her book. Man, I'm gonna have to go look up what it was now. But it was just so good about business tips and all of this. And she said the truth was I didn't know I wasn't talking to enough people until I started talking to enough people. And so the same thing happened for me. I don't know when at this point now, a couple years ago or something, where I was like, why am I fighting so hard to get in Success Club? You know, and I'm like barely missing it, or why does it just feel like everyone else is hitting it, blah, 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 and I'm doing the same as them? But I realized that and it's like, you don't even have to increase your numbers a ton. I just like, especially last year, sorry, I'm all over the place. Last year when we started homeschooling, right? I was like, I will be so proud of myself if I can send out 10 invites every day. Like, I don't even know if I did it on Saturdays. I can't remember. And so at the time, sometimes I was doing 10, sometimes I would do more than that. But then a lot of times, the more that you track, you know, you have to be more, it shows you and it makes you really honest with yourself. Am I really being consistent with those numbers? So I realized that I wasn't. And when that hit, I was like, you know, this is probably all I will have time for right now, 10 invites a day. But I made that my goal. And it showed me that staying consistent, even with that smaller number, but it really wasn't a small number because I had increased it from what I was already sending. And that started like rolling everything. And so things became more consistent in what I was seeing. So if you're not seeing the results that you want, you might just need to talk to more people. And again, it doesn't have to be like 20 more every day. It might just be like 3 to 5. It just depends on what your goals are and what you want from business. And so I know in the book, she said a general rule to get started. She said the small rule of thumb is 5-3-2. Invite 5, follow up with 3, reach out to 2 of your coaches if you already have coaches. That would be a very small minimum day. Now, of course, if you have bigger goals, you're going to need to set that higher, right? But especially if you're brand new or you're just like not sure even how many people you should be talking to, start there. And the other side of this is that new conversations and adding new followers or sending new friend requests, those are so important. There were so many times in my business where I just kind of left that part away because it was boring and I didn't like it and I dreaded it. And those were the times that I was not seeing the results that I wanted. I just wasn't, because I wasn't getting new eyes on my stuff all the time. So, like after this call, if you're not sure how to do that, I can actually tag you in a different video that I've done before explaining how I add new followers and how I send new conversations. It's so simple. And that's just like our business, right? Like it's simple to do, but it's also easy not to do. So we want to make sure that we're doing that. And that's just going to give you a bigger flow of people. So make sure that you're talking to new people every day. And all right, the next lie, I've recruited enough people. So if it only took that small number, wouldn't you hear about the enormous success stories all the time? And she said this amazing goal that I am still working on. if you are building a business, she said your goal because she explained it, I'm not going to break it down of why, but it would keep a constant flow. I will talk about a little bit of that in a minute. But she said 25 recruits in 6 months, then 25 more. So 50 a year. And that would be like recruiting coaches, like working coaches. I definitely haven't done that this year. But where was I going? There was like, what was I going to say? So what was I going to say? Oh, okay. This is what I wrote. So like, you need to have that constant flow of new people because you don't know who's going to stick with you, who's going to quit. And it's like, it's sad to talk about, but like the people that started with me in the beginning that I thought we were all going to be like, elite by now, they were gone. And that's okay. Like, this is no like hard feelings towards anybody, but you can't just trust. And this is what I did in the beginning. I got, like 3 or 4 working coaches. And then so I kind of just like didn't even really talk about it. I didn't invite to coaching as a business because I'm like, okay, like I'm doing it. And then you kind of like take your foot off the gas and you want to just be constantly because you don't know who's going to stick around or who's going to be gone or who's going to be your next, like amazing coach. So you can't trust your downline to be with you in 6 months or your preferred customers now that they're called that. So you always want to be adding to your team. And I don't know what that quote was. I have no idea. All right. The next lie, I'm being coachable, but nothing is happening. And I don't know if you say that. I'm trying to think if I said this. I probably said this at some point, or maybe I didn't say the words, but I like thought that I knew what I was doing and thought that I was doing everything. And this one can hurt. But if you were 100% being coachable, you would be seeing success. And so this one, I'm probably still not perfect at it because it's so hard to be critiqued or to be told to change something that you're doing that you maybe felt like was really good or you were proud of it or something like that. And so I know it is for me because my personality is like, I want to be the best and I don't want to be told what to do. And I want to just like know everything, which is not possible. And I know that, but if someone tells me to tweak something, I'm like, okay. So have an open mind, open heart, and be coachable because ultimately, don't we just want to get to our goals and we want to help more people and we want to grow bigger? So be willing to get, and now the other side of that is be coachable and take that advice from people who are farther ahead of you, right? You don't want to take it from the peers that are not seeing the results that you want. Like, I think that goes without saying. So we want to trust those people. Like I'll reach out to Jessica and ask her something. And it's still hard to take her advice sometimes. But I'm like, okay, she has like how many? 7 business centers. She's a millionaire. Like, I need to listen to her, even if I think I know what I'm doing. So ask yourself, am I really talking to enough people? Am I leading with the business opportunity and defaulting the challenge group? I don't know why I put this on here. Am I being consistent working my business daily? And so probably those things would be really big questions to ask yourself. And if you're not, then be coachable, reach out for help, and be willing to tweak things. And it might not be like a huge change. I don't know if I even had anything. Yeah. So the next lie, I can only sell products. Wrong. The truth is that's wrong. The real problem is that you're leading with the products and not talking about the business. You get what you asked for. And this one it can be tough. And this is another one of those truths that I think I finally am realizing and learning this year is, and I think we talked about it last week, but we got so comfortable. I finally found my groove with inviting people to the challenge group because that's what you start with, right? Like it usually just is because you're starting your own journey. And I don't want to say it's easy, but it's easier for some reason to ask people, to help them with their health than to be like, hey, do you want to start a business? It just is different. But if you're wanting to grow a business, we have to get coaches. We have to recruit. And so telling ourselves that we can only sell products, we can't find working coaches, and you hear that a lot, I've said it myself, is a lie. It's just that we're not doing something right to start recruiting and to start finding those people, even if it's not massive at first. I know for me, like, it's not massively recruiting, but I felt the shift in my head. Like, I am starting to share about coaching just in a like small little like breadcrumb way in my stories sometimes, or just saying that, like, I never even said I'm a coach, or I don't know, before. I was just always talking about the workouts and stuff. So, and we gave an idea last week about when people are asking for information, and just throw that in there. There's also the option to be a coach or a preferred customer, and just pop that in there, and there you said it, and they know about it. And so the more that we start talking about the business, it will become the easy thing. And that's what we want. Like, we want people to know that they can do this too, right? So figure out why it feels more safe or comfortable, and then that is what you should be working on. And let me see. I don't know if that was the same slide or not. I can't see what time it is. Okay. So the next lie is that this should be easier. And she says, the truth is, don't confuse simple with easy. Let me see. So maybe this was another thing I probably had them say in the chat, but just think of something that's been really rewarding for you. Like, was it easy? Like marriage or having a baby, like everything about raising kids, or maybe you ran a marathon, or you went to college or got a degree, all those things, getting abs. Was it easy? So maybe the steps to get there were simple, but it wasn't easy. It was hard work. But what else? It was super rewarding, right? So it's far easier to build like this business than, say, opening a whole shop, but it's still not, or what I say, it's still not easy, right? And so anything that's hard work is going to be rewarding and worth it. So, and I love this quote. Mark Cuban said, work like there is someone working 24 hours a day to take it away from you. Just stay driven and stay determined. And also, along with this, like, don't confuse simple with easy. It is simple. And so don't overcomplicate what we need to be doing, right? The tracker shows us what to do, and it's really simple tasks. The hard part is being consistent, and sticking with those things, and sometimes talking to people when our emotions are high or where life is hard. That's what makes it hard. The actual tasks are not hard. Right. The lie is, I don't have what it takes to be a leader. Anyone ever say that one? I know I did. I still do sometimes. But what we're really saying is that I don't believe I have what it takes to lead, or I don't deserve success, like I just told you. And John Maxwell always says, leadership is about influence. That's it. Like, he's like, you can be a leader to one other person. If you're influencing them, you're being an example to them for whatever, then you're a leader. So we don't need to overthink it. We don't need to think that we have to be like a millionaire before we can be a leader, or we have to be elite or a certain rank. No, like, we can be a leader right now, and you all are. You're signing people up. You're, taking a step out of your comfort zone. You're doing your workouts and sharing that. Like, you're leading from the front and doing that yourself. And so never tell yourself that you can't be a leader. And this kind of goes back again, all of this is tying into what we talked about last week, but we don't always feel that at first, but how do we gain confidence? By the experience of it. So the more that we practice, do you know, like, I'm still not a great speaker, but do you know how much worse these videos were when I first started, or talking on my stories? It was terrible. But the more that you do it, you find a rhythm, you find your voice, you build confidence, and then you're suddenly not nervous anymore, and you suddenly feel like you kind of know what you're talking about. So it just takes that experience. So don't tell yourself that you can't be a leader, because you already are. You just have to believe it and pull it out of yourself. let me make sure, because I'm sorry this is so choppy, but I never did read all these. I want to make sure I don't miss anything really good. Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much saying it all. So there's one other thing that I said in here, though. Leaders are agents of change, and they add value to those around you. So you can make a positive impact to anybody just by adding value, just by helping them, by serving. And that's kind of the whole other side of leadership that John Maxwell's always talking about. So show your customers, show your team how to build, like how to work their business, how to run their challenge groups, or like I said, your customers, if you don't have coaches yet. Just like be a leader and be so solid, like leading your bod group and showing them how to do that and showing them how to stay consistent. And how do you do that? By being consistent yourself. And that's it. Like you don't have to do all these like special extra things and all this hard work. Just be an example. And then really like that's what inspires people too. Okay, the next lie, I will make mistakes. This one is not a lie, and I love it. You will make mistakes, but the part that's BS is that somehow you're telling yourself that you're not supposed to make mistakes to be successful. And then at the bottom, we can't learn how to do anything really well without making mistakes. So don't like throw away your fear with that. Don't even worry about messing up because you probably will, and that's good. Then instead of beating yourself up about it, just learn from it and then move on and do better the next time. Let me see. Okay, I think we're almost to the end. This might be the last one. This lie is, it's saturated where I live. This business just doesn't work in our town, or I don't have anyone near me to help me. The truth with this is when we make excuses like this, we are really just scared we're not good enough or worthy of success. And this can also go back to, you know, maybe there's something in your business, like maybe you need to learn how to find new people. I could go to that one too. Or I said that down here, find new people, and never discount anyone from joining you. So don't only invite like a certain type of person, because you never know who needs this, who could want this secretly, you know, like you don't know what their life is behind the scenes, and let them be the judge if this is a good fit for them. So, and I've even explained this to my dad, because he's like, yeah, but you're eventually going to run out of people. I'm like, no, I'm not signing up people I know. You know, after you work through your warm market in your town, you're going to start finding people. That's what our social media is for, right? And so that's what those new conversations for. And I've signed up people in the UK and Canada and one person in France. Like I didn't meet any of those people in Washington. And so that's kind of the beauty. So don't even tell yourself that. If you tell yourself that nobody wants to sign up and, you know, blah, 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 like all your people, how many people, again, it's going to go back to how many people did you ask that for? And then are you asking new people every day? Because yes, it's going to take some time to find those people and to build it. So don't be scared. Don't let any of these be an excuse, and make this a priority. Let me make sure. I think this is the last one. What's happening? Okay, there it is. It wasn't popping up. So I'm just gonna check my notes. Thank you guys for being patient with this. I'm like trying to read it, and then my husband came up and talked to me. I'm like, I haven't even looked at what I'm gonna say. So yeah, so that's pretty much what I have. But what I want you, if you want to share in the chat, I would love, because we do have a couple minutes, I would love to hear like what holds you back. Yes, I can do that, Donna. If there's anything that holds you back or that you have limiting beliefs, it's okay if you don't want to share it. I was always that person that didn't want to share, but yeah, go ahead, Donna.
So I have a similar belief that, like you said, I thought, I tell myself, okay, you're 60. These chicks are 30s, 20s. You can't do this. That's bull crap. I can do this.
Yes, you can.
Yeah. Um, but that I struggle with. I guess that's a form of not feeling good enough
Hmm.
because I just make the excuse that, I'm older and then I'm like, I've never felt old, so don't even go there.
That's good. Yeah. And then coach yourself out of that. Yes. I'm so bad I've always been bad at comparing myself or yeah, or also I'm pretty shy usually. Like I'm not very outgoing or in, social settings. I'm like the girl that just stays really quiet. And so I've always thought, well, I don't have the right personality, but yes, you have to just coach yourself out of that. That is the devil talking. Get him out of there. But it's also good to recognize, I think, like that's huge to even recognize like what is holding you back because then but then sometimes that can be frustrating because it's just like this constant cycle of feeling good about yourself and then going back down. But I
Yeah.
really think just like learning with our workouts, the more times that we fall off and then come back, it does get easier and easier, or we can pull ourselves out of it a little bit faster each time. Okay, so Cindy said, I think that's what she means. Too many things to keep track of is like maybe her holdback or her limiting belief. I'm not sure. I mean, they're kind of similar. So um, that's a good one too. And I think she's doing it because I saw her post. I don't know if it was a post or a story. She wrote out her entire schedule of like when she's working out, when she's showering, when she'll be at work, when she's spending time with her husband. So I feel like she's taking control of that holdback and saying like, no, I will keep track of this stuff, and I have a planner and I have alarms on my phone, and yeah, and just crush that. And the more that you stay organized and the more that you conquer that, like that might just go away and you might not feel so overwhelmed with it. It is overwhelming when you first start and there's just so much. It does seem like but yeah, so thank you guys for sharing those things, and I think we're done, so I'm going to stop that.